Since the dawn of humanity, humans have always sought entertainment and we always had an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. And in that pursuit, it led us to invent many great things. Fire, the wheel, electricity, penicillin, toast. But one thing, above all else, has revolutionised the way that humans entertain themselves. Cinema. And in cinema there have been some greats. Orson Welles with Citizen Kane, Sidney Lumet with 12 Angry Men, and of course, Barnyard. As we go on, we have seen many great artists come into Hollywood. Hitchcock, Kubrick, Wells, Tarantino, Scorsese, Spielberg. But there is one artist, one man, who is leagues above everyone else in terms of his creative ability, in terms of his raw talent and just uncontrollable sex appeal. That man is Adam Sandler. I'm just kidding, most of these movies fucking suck, but I've got nothing else to do, so I just thought I'd rank all of his films.
Spit on your hand and stroke my cock at a medium pace.
Just a disclaimer, these Adam Sandler films are only Adam Sandler's starring films and they're only live action. So none of the Hotel Transylvania films or 8 Crazy Nights or anything like that. And also, it has to be Adam Sandler as the lead role, so no mixed nuts, no cone heads. None of these other things where he might have a minor role. We want him as either the main character or like one of the 2 main characters in the film. Anyway, let's get into it.
Boom, boom, boom.
That's My Boy is one of the most outrageously terrible films I've ever witnessed in my entire life, and I cannot mention enough how fucking bad this movie is. The opening 10 minutes of this movie is the most outrageously stupid thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's the most outrageously disgusting and ridiculous thing I've ever watched, and I can't actually believe that they made it into a film. I can't believe that not only Adam Sandler signed off on this, but Andy Samberg as well. And I can't believe there's any actress in Hollywood that would agree to do this. It's outrageous. In case you don't know, in the first 10 minutes, there's a teacher who is pretty attractive, and Adam Sandler's character, who's 14, obviously not played by Adam Sandler, but that's the person he later becomes. That kid, right, is 14 years old, and the teacher's like 30, right? And they full on have a word I can't say over and over again, and he's 14 years old, and she goes to prison, and what is happening? Don't watch this film. I barely got through it. It's disgusting. Please don't watch it. It's just so unapologetically terrible.
Boom, boom, boom.
I actually don't know why I'm doing this to myself. The only thing worse than having Adam Sandler in a movie doing Adam Sandler things is having 2 Adam Sandlers doing Adam Sandler things squared. I don't even have any words. I'm actually just sad now, man. I just don't understand how you can make a movie this fucking bad. I don't know what made Norm Macdonald and Johnny Depp and Al fucking Pacino. Why would they choose to be in this? Why? What made you agree to this? What do they have on you to make you do this movie? There's no way there's enough money to make you do this. Bro, there's no way that Al Pacino got paid enough to hang out with an Adam Sandler dressed as a woman and Jared from Subway. Like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, it just makes me sad, bro. It's just like they don't even try anymore. Once again, Adam Sandler's wife is really hot, but even that can't redeem this movie. Even Al Pacino being fucking weird can't redeem this movie. There's like no funny joke. I don't think I laughed a single time. It's just farts and noises, and it's just so bad. It's so bad. The only time I ever laughed at this movie was when it finished, because I was just like, damn, that is fucking terrible.
Boom, boom, boom.
This movie is just fucking awful. It's corny, it's stupid, it's just really, really, really bad. I don't know what could possess Harvey Keitel to make a film like this. It's just bad. It's really bad. It's one of the few Adam Sandler movies to actually lose money. And for an Adam Sandler, for a movie to be advertised as an Adam Sandler movie and for it to still lose money is impressive. Yeah, this movie sucks. It's really bad. Adam Sandler's a devil, or he works for Satan. It's stupid. It's really bad. It's just so noughties. Well, even though it was released in the noughties, but it was filmed in the 90s. But it's really bad, really bad. I can't stress enough how bad this film is.
Boom, boom, boom.
What happens when you give a young Adam Sandler the opportunity to write a movie? A movie with terrible jokes and extremely attractive women, and Adam Sandler. Yeah, so this movie, he breaks the fourth wall a lot in this movie, you know, as if to say, hey, I know this movie sucks. And it does, it sucks. I feel like the only reason this movie existed is because Adam Sandler wanted to be on a boat with a bunch of supermodels and every other one broke the law, or, you know, everyone just said no. This movie is long. It feels way longer than it is. It's stupid. It's poorly written. It, you know, the quality's terrible. I mean, it's the 90s, but even then, like, it's just bad, man. Like, I know it's Adam Sandler and it's his first ever movie. You know, he's so young in this, but I think the self-referentialism of it is like he's trying to make it be like, yeah, I know this movie's gonna be funny. It's got no budget. Yeah, I know. I can fucking tell. You know, I could have got these tickets for free and I'd still feel ripped off. This movie sucks. It stinks. It's terrible. I know it's Adam Sandler's first movie, so that's sort of why I didn't want to rank it too low, but at the same time, it's a fucking terrible movie. So I'm just going to sort of slow down here. Boom, boom, boom. You Don't Mess with the Zohan is when Adam Sandler tries to pretend to be Borat and also solve the Palestine-Israel debate. Yeah, this movie's dumb. The accents are atrocious. You know, they think just speaking Middle East is just say it like this, like you've got something stuck in your throat. You know, I'm all for racism, you know. I'm fairly conservative, but at least if you're gonna be, you know, wildly racist, be funny. You know, the bit where they're using hummus for everything is just isn't funny. This really over-the-top action that they've got also just isn't funny. This movie in general just isn't funny. I don't know why there's this running gag in Hollywood where Adam Sandler just is the most badass character imaginable. It was the same in That's My Boy and in various other films as well. It's just not funny. Yeah, this movie is just a very long, boring waste of time. I don't really have anything else to say. It's just bad. Boom, boom, boom. I think I've just come to the conclusion to just not watch any Adam Sandler project before 2005, maybe even 2010. Because all of these 90s ones and early 90s ones just fucking stink. Billy Madison's just stupid. This guy, he's a man, he's a fully grown man, Adam Sandler, who... his dad's like stupidly rich, like has his own private army ready to invade America the second the president doesn't give him what he wants, sort of rich. But he's also fucking stupid. I can't tell if he's just like, you know, playing it up, like if he's just a very unintelligent man who's just aggressively loud and annoying, or if he's like genuinely mentally handicapped. But they sent him to preschool with a bunch of toddlers as a like 25, 30-year-old man. First of all, I don't think that's legal. Second of all, even if he's stupid, unless he's actually genuinely seriously mentally handicapped, he's going to be smarter than these kids. Yeah, but this movie fucking sucks. For the first 5 minutes, I don't think Adam Sandler even says words. He's just sort of mumbling and growling. He just sort of makes noise very loudly, you know, very typical Adam Sandler. This movie's just really, really bad. It just makes me, I'm just getting sad what they just talking about this man. Like they're just so bad. Like they're just so bad. Why am I doing this to myself? Boom, boom, boom. And now Pronounced Chuck and Larry is just very uneventful and boring. It's just sort of like, look at these two men. Wow, they're in a relationship. Like, I just don't, you know, it's dumb. It's very quintessential Adam Sandler. It's so average, it's painful. You know, it's one of those movies. It's just so insanely average. I mean, for Adam Sandler standards, it's just classic Adam Sandler. Kevin James is, you know, just Kevin James. You know, it's just ha, I'm fat. Adam Sandler's just I'm Adam Sandler, and that's just sort of what they do. Yeah. It's just a very mundane, boring film. Boom, boom, boom. Airheads is a film where a bunch of teenagers in a band break into a record studio and hold everyone hostage so they can play them their music. Yeah, that's the concept of the movie. Yeah, I don't get it either. Even Steve Buscemi couldn't save this film. Chris Farley couldn't save this fucking film, bro. I mean, Steve Buscemi is one of my favourite people just on earth. Chris Farley was a legend. I mean, I think the only thing Chris Farley loved more than making people laugh was drugs. Adam Sandler, Brendan Fraser, I don't know how you can have all these likeable people in a film and still make it this dog shit. Better Call Saul. Chuck McGill from Better Call Saul is also in this film. I just don't get it, man. It's just so dull. Like, it's just not interesting at all. It's supposed to be a hostage situation. It's not even remotely interesting. It's not even funny. Like, I don't think I laughed at all watching this film. It's just really bad. It's just really bad. It's really bad. They're all really bad. I don't know why I did this myself. This is a very rare movie from my perspective, because very rarely do I have any films where I truly don't give a fuck about anyone in them. I mean, the rapping granny was kind of cool. Sammy was cool, and I guess Steve Buscemi being in it is a plus, but I don't care about Robbie, the main character. I think Julia's a conceited little bitch. Glenn is a world-class cunt. All of the old people in this film are quite creepy and rapey, and all the kids are weirdly, like, rude. And there's a lot of 80s humour, you know, it's very dated. And considering the fact I wasn't even born in the 90s, like, I don't get it, you know? I can watch this movie and I'm like, I guess that's supposed to be funny, because they hold on to it for way too long. But it's like, why is that funny? You know? They're wearing flashy clothes and that's funny because that's what they did in the 80s. As if they didn't do that in the 90s as well. I don't know, this movie was stupid. I didn't like it, but it wasn't his worst. For this to be not his worst film is impressive, because this movie was fucking terrible. This has probably got to be Adam Sandler's most predictable movie, mainly because I knew exactly how the film was going to go within the first 5 seconds. Oh really? You know, Jennifer Aniston in the movie and she's not going to be the main love interest. Really? Jennifer fucking Aniston. You think we're that stupid? I mean, come on, I know the average Adam Sandler movie fan isn't like a connoisseur of humour and comedy, but Jesus Christ, you think Jennifer Aniston isn't going to be the main love interest in this fucking film? The second I saw the cast and I saw the plot of the movie, I was like, oh, he's going to go with this super hot supermodel, and then he's going to find out looks ain't everything, even though Jennifer Aniston is also, you know, just an amazingly attractive woman. It was just really painful. I don't know why the daughter was doing it in a British accent most of the time. That was just fucking stupid. The acting's pretty poor. I mean, I know the other actress whose name I don't even know was fucking Leng, but she wasn't a great actress. It was a very forgettable movie. I forgot Adam Sandler even made this, and I probably won't ever watch it again. So yeah, pretty stinky. The Ridiculous Six, I feel like, is one of those movies that people forget Adam Sandler was in. Like, it's just so random and different to everything he's done, you know, like, why is Adam Sandler in a Western? Why was this even a Western? Why is anything happening? Why is John Turturro in this, and why is he talking about baseball? That has no relevance to anything. I think that's sort of my reaction to basically this entire movie. It's just sort of, what's going on? Why is this happening? It's kind of funny. Again, like most Adam Sandler movies, it's pretty nonsensical, you know, like, he's a white guy raised by Native Americans, and his real dad, had a very black son. None of it really makes any sense, but I guess that's sort of the point with Adam Sandler movies at this point. But it's very difficult to comprehend. Again, it's sort of like, it's trying to go for like a Million Ways to Die in the West vibe, but, you know, just not as funny or as clever. Pixels is one goofy ass movie, bro. Yo, this shit don't make no sense. Kevin James is the president. Need I say more? Basically, it's a bunch of fucking video game nerds. One of them becomes the president some fucking how, despite being the least intelligent human being in the movie. And then you've got the dwarf cheater, Peter Dinklage. You got Adam Sandler, who of course bangs the Lengers at the end of the movie. Well, one of the Lengers. And then there's Jared Fogle-ass looking motherfucker bangs a literal supermodel who was previously Cuba. I'll be honest, shit don't make no sense. Like, how does Cuba just turn into that Leng thing? How does this guy manage to cheat? Why would they, like, if the aliens are coding in the game, why would they code in the cheats as well? Why is Serena Williams doing any of this? Really? Kevin James is the president? You couldn't have... yeah, this shit don't make no sense. It's funny, it's goofy as fuck, and it's entertaining, but this shit don't make no sense. Hubie Halloween is a goofy little film. I don't really know what else to say. It's very goofy, very silly. It was quite emotional, actually, seeing... I like Adam Sandler's approach to playing a weird character who's just to do a stupid voice. But there's a lot of stupid things in this movie, you know, like the cat eyes gag, the someone throwing a trombone. Just all of it was really quite stupid, but it was funny. It was sort of like an Airplane sort of style of comedy where it just didn't really make a lot of sense. But it was funny, it was lighthearted, and it was feel good, and I think that's something I needed. It did make me quite emotional, although that could just be because I've got some serious issues going on mentally. I mean, memes and stuff, lol. But no, this movie was good. I'd recommend watching it. It's not like a smart film, but it's definitely just a silly, goofy little film for the family. I mean, there's a few swear words in there, but you know, Ray Liotta's in it. You know, he's always a good fella in movies. I'm just so sad. And of course, Steve Buscemi's also in it, which is just fucking amazing. I mean, everything Steve Buscemi's in is better because Steve Buscemi's in it. And this continues my belief in the thing that every movie should have Steve Buscemi in it in some capacity just to make it better. The only issue was Rob Schneider was in it for a bit. I don't even know why I hate Rob Schneider that much. I think it's just something about his comedy. But, you know, he didn't have too much to do. It was all right, you know. It was a decent little movie.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Very strange film. It's just bad. I mean, it had its moments. Russell Brand's character, his whole sleep scare thing was kind of funny the first time. But it wasn't really funny. It just wasn't really funny. Very difficult to watch at points. The ending was mad convenient. Oh, what? Just all of a sudden the area he wanted was free and everyone's happy and everyone gets to live happy ever after. That was stupid. I know it's a kid's film, but it's fucking stupid, and I hate children, and I hate you. Yeah, I mean, it was heartwarming, kinda, and all the women in it, again, are fucking laying. Not only does Adam Sandler get the fit girl, but his mate, Russell Brand, also gets the fit girl, and his sister's also fit, so yeah, just all fit women. I mean, the guinea pig was kind of fucking weird, and I don't know, in general the film was just kind of shit, but it's a kids film. Am I going to really downmark a kids film because it's not for me? Yes, I am. Fuck this movie.
Boom, boom, boom.
So we got the Water Boy out of the film What If Forrest Gump Was Even More Fucking Written. So it's very interesting to see Adam Sandler play such a diverse range of characters. He's got this in Hubie Halloween where he's supposed to be like this mentally incompetent person, and the way he does that is just by putting on a funny voice and stuttering. Because apparently that's what all mentally handicapped people do. Yeah, this movie had rewarding qualities, like the girl Bianca, is that his name? She was pretty fit. Very weird character though. Rob Schneider obviously was fucking terrible. Most of the acting was pretty poor. The story was kind of entertaining and like it was feel good and it was heartwarming and you know everyone loved him and all of that. But like it wasn't funny. The bit with the shoes, like that was kind of funny. There was just some really weird passages. I didn't really find any of it funny. It was entertaining enough. I think the story itself was quite good. I just think, you know, the characters and all the jokes were really cheap and quite weak, to be honest. But it's not the worst, but that's not saying much.
Boom, boom, boom.
Happy Gilmore is probably the most 90s movie ever made. It's goofy, it's silly, it doesn't really make any sense. Adam Sandler's acting is also very all over the place, but it's so feel good and full of good moments and does have some great jokes in it, so all in all I can't really hate on it too much. I think it's just what a quintessential feel good movie should be. A lovable goof character who overcomes some sort of adversity in order to win something against someone who's so up their own arse and privileged. I think that's what makes one of these movies so great, and Happy Gilmore definitely has that, so I definitely give it a higher rating because I think it's just so quintessentially 90s and probably one of the movies that helped best put Adam Sandler on the map.
Boom, boom, boom.
The duo seriously surprised me. When you get Adam Sandler and David Spade into a film together, I always assume it's just going to be a very average, if not a complete and total fucking train wreck. However, this movie was actually surprising. I mean, it wasn't really funny in any way, shape or form, but it had It was a decent action sort of movie. I sort of like the plot point about like this company trying to shut down a cancer treatment. I feel like that's it's a very good motivation for a character to do everything he can. It would have been more motivating if maybe instead of Max having cancer, like his son had cancer or something like that. That could have been a bit more motivating. The German gymnast guy, I know he was there for sort of comedic relief, but that was sort of corny. And the Lengo, who was the villain, that was a very good fucking reveal. I never noticed that. There's a lot of gay stuff in this film. I don't know why they keep making these gay jokes. It's really weird and uncomfortable for most of the film, especially with the biker dude. Like, oh, Dakota, haha, is this huge biker Donnie who's actually gay. Like, that's funny. It just, it's just weird. But at the same time, it was an enjoyable experience. So I think it deserves a decent ranking. Boom, boom, boom. What in the ever-loving fuck happened in this movie, man? Do you know what it is? This movie was good for two reasons. One, Marissa Tomei and all the other women, because fit. But Jack Nicholson, man, I mean, I don't know what that guy does, but everything he's in just is better. I don't think he's ever been in a bad film, and I think he just has the power to just make any film good. I think his character toes the line perfectly between being a hero and a villain, and it really keeps you guessing until the very last second. But it was I think the only issue I really had with it is like, why would Linda still be with a guy like this? Because she's clearly like out of his league, not just like looks wise, but sort of like just as a person, she's just much like nicer of a person than he is. Doesn't really make any sense, but the trend continues of Adam Sandler getting women way out of his league in his films. I don't know what his wife's like and if she approves of this, but it was good. The first 20 or so minutes were pretty ass, to be fair. The first few minutes of this film were pretty shit, but it did manage to regain itself pretty quickly, and the whole monk fight scene with John C. Reilly was really funny. And Jack Nicholson and Adam Sandler just seems to have really good chemistry, and I mean Jack Nicholson in general is just a fucking phenomenal actor, and I think again you could cast him in any role and I think he'd just be unbelievable because that's just how good he is. Boom, boom, boom.
I really don't know what to say about this film. I mean, it's heartwarming and it definitely has its moments. I mean, Terry Crews in it is it's pretty funny, although he's very weird. Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore again have great chemistry. I didn't really like the pervy kid. He was kind of annoying. I didn't like the pervy couple. That was also pretty fucking gross. But I also didn't like how 15-year-old Bella Thorne was really quite sexualized in the film. That's probably why she's so fucked up nowadays. It was a good movie. Drew Barrymore was fit. Bella Thorne, I don't know what happened there, but I guess this movie may have had something to do with it. I mean, being famous at that age anyway is going to be fuck you up a little bit. The whole babysitter thing was really gross, and that kid was too horny, and I didn't like it at all. I liked some of the moments, and I thought some of the jokes were quite funny, but I think it wasn't really a funny movie, but it was definitely entertaining for most parts. I just think for a lot of it was also quite, gross. I can definitely understand why liberals would hate this film, because it's very conservative in the way that it's like, here's how men should raise men and how women should raise women, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I feel like, these roles are firmly rooted in biology. Anyway, this is a different discussion that we don't really need to be having. I just thought I'd point it out because I thought that was probably an interesting reason as to why this movie gets such low ratings. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. It was definitely different to a lot of Adam Sandler films. Boom, boom, boom!
Spanglish is a very heartfelt film, and it shows that Adam Sandler is actually a good actor. He's not just a guy who's loud all the time. It's actually a very nice, heartwarming film. He's not really the main character. He's sort of like a co-lead, but I just thought I'd include it. One thing I should point out is this movie is long. It feels like it drags on a lot. Like it's like 2 hours. It's over 2 hours long. It feels like it should be like an hour and a half. It's very long, and it does get very dull for long periods of time. But it's quite emotional, and I think it's decent. Boom, boom, boom. The Cobbler is a very unusual film. It's definitely different, but it's just sort of boring. I don't really care about Max, particularly as a character. I mean, he's alright, but it's not particularly funny. It's not particularly enjoyable, but it's not bad. It's just sort of, it's it's short, which does going for it, but it still feels quite long. And none of the jokes really landed, but it was mildly entertaining. Boom, boom, boom. Man of Issue 2 is good. I don't think it was as interesting as the first one, because in the first one you keep guessing who did it, but in this one it's just sort of like there's so much going on, and you find out pretty quickly who it is. You know, it's quite obvious. Oh, the bold British guy's the villain. Yeah, that tracks. The whole bit about Nick not being able to shoot it's funny, but it's stupid. And just all of it in general was pretty silly. I mean, it was a good film, don't get me wrong, it was entertaining. The Maharaj was funny, his wife was fit. The bit with his sister being involved doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. They just sort of threw that in at the end. You know, I guess they were working together the whole time, but she didn't seem to get any money. Did she just do it for the thrill? Okay. The whole bit with the woman just arriving on the floor was kind of funny, but served no real purpose other than just, you know, sort of a quick gag. Yeah, it was good. Also the bit at the end where the guy steals the money, like, why wouldn't he just steal it before he gave it to him? You know, he had the money and he gave it to him, and then he just, you know, gave it, and then he just stole it again. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But, you know, it was good. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still a very entertaining film, and I enjoyed it. Boom, boom, boom! Mr. Deeds is a weird little film. Winona Ryder's uncharacteristically quite poor in this. It's not a great performance from her, but, you know, she's buff, so I'll allow it. Adam Sandler, again, is just sort of being his very timid self. He has one of two ways that he acts. Either stupidly over the top and irritating, or like the shy introvert kind of guy, and that's what he was doing in this. But, you know, Steve Buscemi's obviously amazing because it's fucking Steve Buscemi. John Turturro was amazing doing his Quentin Tarantino impression. It was a very short film. It was a very simple film. It felt kind of rushed at points. You know, the whole love arc of Winona Ryder's character just sort of immediately falling in love with him. You know, it seemed a bit rushed, but it was heartfelt, and it was good, and it wasn't terrible. It was good. It was all right. It's not his best, but it's not his worst. I can't say I'd watch it again, but I also can't say that I didn't enjoy myself when I was watching it. Of course, Rob Schneider's in it as well, because, you know, what else does he do with his life when he's not in these films? Boom, boom, boom! I don't even know where to begin with this film. See, here's the thing. It's one of those films where you watch it and you're just like, this is like the perfect film for like an Academy award. And it's like a film that like just should be seen as good, but it's just not. Like, don't get me wrong, it does well to encapsulate the dysfunction of family. In fact, it's one of the best films to do it that I've seen. Definitely the best Sandler film to capture family dysfunction. Maybe even better than The Week Of. It's labelled as a comedy, but it's not funny. The only thing that I really found funny was sort of the running gag of these, you know, film students having like overly artsy, nonsensical films that are just, you know, outrageous and don't make sense. But again, that could just be something that, you know, was intended seriously. I don't understand. And there's so much happening, but again, nothing happens. Because you've got these characters where they're supposed to come to terms with their dad for being an asshole. But at the end of the film, he's still an asshole. And yeah, Maureen, his wife, is also a drunk and an asshole. And it's just not a movie that I really clicked with in any way. I didn't really feel anything for any of the characters. Even Adam Sandler's character, who's quite, you know, he's kind of likable, but he's just not funny. I think the only reason I like him is because his daughter's really fit. Ben Stiller's character, the sister was even less interesting. You know, the wife, just all of it. There's so many characters and there's so much going on, but at the same time, you don't really feel anything about it. It's just sort of a film that you watch and then never think about again. Boom, boom, boom! Oh, The Longest Yard, where we celebrate criminality and say a big fuck you to the justice system. Yeah, this movie's cool. Paul Cruz, a bit of a weird character. Got no idea why he decides to go on a drunken rampage at the start of the movie. But basically, says he's this washed-up American footballer, ex-American footballer that no one likes because he apparently rigged a game. And yeah, he, long story short, he gets drunk, gets in a car, goes to prison, and then the movie's set about him in prison playing football. So less murdery O.J. Simpson becomes friends with the warden and basically tells the warden that the best way for his team to win, a team that hasn't won in the last 5 championships, would be for them to play a game against a shit opponent, and then when they smoke him, they get their confidence up and they do really well. So the warden's like, okay, well, you create a team of convicts. You know, the people that hate the wardens because, you know, they beat the shit out of them constantly and just make things up and torment them. Yeah, get those guys those jacked, hardened, psychopathic criminals to play against my employees. That should be a fun time. So they do, and it goes about as well as you'd expect. The wardens get the absolute shit kicked out of them, and then the convicts win, and it's all fun. You know, woo, let's celebrate. I hope none of these are murderers. But you know, it's a feel good. It's a funny film. It's feel good. I don't know why Rob Schneider had to be in it, and also Steve Buscemi isn't in it, which is going to hold minus points. But it was a very emotional movie. Some things I don't understand, like why Chris Rock is the nicest criminal ever, and just gets blown up. The other old coach Donnie, I don't know why he's in it, but it's weird. But yeah, it's a good movie. We never really find out why he was in prison, but yeah, it's a good movie. I'd give it a good rating. Boom, boom, boom. The Day Of's a very difficult film for me to rank because objectively it's pretty well made. It really captures the essence of family dysfunction perfectly. It's just a movie that I think is very difficult to watch because there's so many characters that are just so disagreeable on so many levels. For a start, the bridesmaid, the big one, she's very, very hard to watch most of the time, as is the druggie and basically his entire family. They're all pretty difficult to watch. Chris Rock's character's kind of an asshole, but I like his transformation. And I also like Adam Sandler's character. I think this is one of Adam Sandler's best acting performances. You know, he's really trying to get the best for his daughter, and that's something that I really appreciate. And it's a really well made movie. It's just a movie that's very difficult to watch a lot of the times. There are several scenes where I'm just cringing so much. Most of the dancing scenes with the bride and her friends, and you know, just sort of the whole dysfunction of it. Like, you really feel for Adam Sandler's character as a person, but again, it's just not a movie that's for me. If you're good with cringe humor and stuff like that, you probably like this movie. But for me, I'm gonna have to say it's not my favorite. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, what the fuck is this movie? Honestly, there is so much going on in such a short period of time in this film. It's really hard to explain. The wolf guy from Twilight's in it and is apparently a ninja. The villain from The Hunger Games is also in it and also is a fucking ninja. Shaq's in it for some reason. Yeah, I got no fucking clue what's going on. I think the only thing about this movie I actually enjoyed is the complete absence of Rob Schneider. Other than that, this movie's kind of weird and garbage. It doesn't really make any sense, but it's, you know, sort of mildly entertaining, and there is an obscene amount of attractive women. Like, genuinely, I've never seen this many 10 out of 10s in one thing ever. And Adam Sandler always had my respect for that. Boom, boom, boom. Bulletproof's actually a very good film. The acting from Wayans and Sandler the acting's pretty poor at times, but I like the chemistry between them. You know, I like it's quite cheesy, but it's actually just a very good film. It's not particularly funny, but it's definitely an enjoyable movie. I was entertained pretty much throughout. The action was really good. The choreography was actually really good. Yeah, and I said the relationship between Keats and Moses is what really does it for me. I think they work really well together, and I think it was a surprisingly good film. It's not really a Sandler film as much as it is sort of in, like, I mean, he's in it, but it's not like an Adam Sandler film. But all in all, I think it's a great film, and I'd watch it again. Boom, boom, boom. So I've come to the conclusion that Adam Sandler stars in two types of films: either stupidly terrible comedies, or absolutely fucking heart-wrenching and beautiful romances. And 50 First Dates is definitely in the latter. I mean, don't get me wrong, all the parts of Dan Schneider are just so irritating. This is like the fifth time Dan Schneider's been one of these Adam Sandler films where he's just playing just a stupidly racist character. There's a lot of, you know, very questionable jokes. There's a lot of race jokes, a lot of trans jokes. Not that I'm offended by any of them, but it's just funny to see how, you know, the times have changed and how you couldn't make stuff like that anymore. But it's weird because this film I was expecting to go into, and the first 20 so minutes are pretty rough. I mean, the whole thing with Adam Sandler just trying to be like a playboy is really rough. But the moment he meets Drew Barrymore, it's beautiful. It's a very heart-wrenching story. It's about a woman who has short memory loss. She can only remember one day. When she falls asleep, she only remembers some day back in October, like years ago. And Adam Sandler basically makes her fall in love with him every day. It's beautiful. It's a great love story. There's not really much to say. I think Adam Sandler's terrific in it. I think he's an amazing actor, and people talk shit about his acting all the time, but I think he's a terrific actor. Drew Barrymore's fit, but also just an amazingly talented actress. The brother character's a bit annoying, doesn't really add much. Whatever the fuck that person is, they're kind of annoying. Rob Schneider's obviously, you know, Rob Schneider. But all in all, I think it was a really good film. It did drag on a bit at the start, but I think the love element of it is just beautiful. And yeah, I think it was really well put together, and it keeps you invested for the whole film. Boom, boom, boom. Big Daddy is a weird little movie. It's Adam Sandler, but it's really heartfelt and nice. Of course, he still gets the lengest of the lengers in the movies, somehow. Some of the jokes are outrageous, like the proposal joke was so painful it hurt, and the O.J. Simpson joke might be the most outrageous joke I've ever seen on a movie, ever. And there were so many things that are kind of outrageous, like the fact that everyone defends Sonny despite he just kidnapped this child and almost completely brainwashed him and turned him into like a feral human being for a long time. But it was cute, and it was really heartfelt, and it was sweet, and it actually made me feel things, which is weird because I didn't know if I still had those. Steve Buscemi continues my belief that every movie should contain Steve Buscemi in some capacity just to make it a better film. I even sort of like Rob Schneider in this film. Yeah, he was alright. Yeah, all around it's a pretty good film. I really like the characters, I really like the plot, I really like the development, I like the character arcs, and Julian's a fucking adorable little cutie, and I just want to snuggle him. Boom, boom, boom! Grown Ups is one of Adam Sandler's most accomplished films, and yeah, it's just peak Adam Sandler. Like, there are some of it's quite good, like some of the more nuanced, subtle jokes, like the water drinking joke I thought was quite funny, the whole zipping up of the bathing suits when they're at the water park, that was quite funny, but a lot of this movie just fucking stinks. Like, every time Rob Schneider and his wife are on screen, I want to fucking kill myself. But I think whenever the core four of Kevin James, David Spade, Chris Rock, and Adam Sandler were on, when they're all having just riffing off each other, that's when the best content happens. I guess it was like a learning curve, and it was about bringing people together, which was nice. It's just, it wasn't funny. You know, like how comedy movies are supposed to be funny. This just wasn't. You know, like it just wasn't funny. Also, I just have to point out, I love the running gag of Adam Sandler consistently hiring the most attractive women God has ever created to be his wife in these fucking Hollywood films. He's done it with Jennifer Aniston multiple times, he's done it with some supermodel in the same movie, and now he's got Salma Hayek in. Yeah, it was a good movie, all in all. Definitely not his worst, but certainly not his best. It's, yeah, it was just sort of meh. Funny. Rain on Me is another one of those very few and far between times where Adam Sandler actually takes a serious role. Really still cracks a few jokes here and there, but this movie was actually very emotional and very impactful. And the thing is about emotional films, they always seem very difficult to rate poorly because if they elicit emotion, they must be doing a good job. But this movie was very interesting. It had a very unique take on grief that I liked. I think Adam Sandler's way of portraying grief, I don't know, I mean, I've never experienced any serious grief like that, but his way of perceiving grief just sort of seemed like just to act like a fucking lunatic all the time. I guess, I mean, I don't really know how it affects anyone, but I feel like this is a very cliche sort of way to tackle a topic like this. But I think the story itself was very interesting, and I think Don Cheadle's performance is very good. Jada Pinkett Smith's in the film, which of course is a downside. There's also no Steve Buscemi, but there's also no Rob Schneider, so it's not too bad. All in all, it's a good film. It's definitely one of Adam Sandler's better films. But that's because, it doesn't rely too much on cheap jokes. It's more just about like sort of an emotional, impactful viewing experience. And I think, the character growth from everyone in the film is very good. But I think the whole subject of grief was tackled in a way that I thought was a bit cliche and corny. Funny. So Murder Mystery was a really good film. It was actually quite surprising how good it was. Orlando Bloom's fit, Jennifer Aniston's pretty fit. I mean, all the women in this film are just kind of really fit, especially that Asian girl. I'd just what? No, but honestly, it was quite funny. The whole not being able to speak English bit was quite good. Very fast, yes. He was probably my favourite character. There was a lot of twists and turns and a lot of dead bodies, which was really funny. I think Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston is just a really great duo, honestly. And I really enjoyed this one. There's not really much I can say about it. It's quite short. It's very fast paced. Good acting performances from everyone involved, really. It was funny. The Colonel's great. Yeah, it was just an entertaining movie. I don't really have much to say about it. Other than it was just really good. It was a good film. I recommend you go watch it. It's on Netflix. The second one's just been released as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a good fucking film. I feel like the one gripe I would have had is if they leaned on the cliches a little bit. Maybe they didn't lean on them too hard. I know it's sort of an ironic thing, but maybe ease off a little bit. But it was a great film. Funny. So, what the fuck was that? I watched Click thinking it was going to be some fucking dumb, stupid Adam Sandler movie with a bunch of fart jokes and it'd be really ridiculous and corny, but I mean, I am absolutely fucking, I'm absolutely fucking baffled right now. I don't know what to say. I mean, that totally caught me off by surprise. That movie was Really fucking beautiful. I mean, there were points in it where it was a bit difficult to watch, but those were only like a few scenes. I don't know why Rob Schneider's in it. Again, that was one of the weird scenes, and there are some weird moments, but I mean, that was really actually genuinely beautiful. It really encapsulates what it means to live a life worth living, and it shows that even in all of this vapid success that he has, the one thing that really matters to him, his family, he never gets to fulfill the dreams that he has, and he never gets to live his real life with them. I mean, he's there, but he's never really there. And wow, I mean, that was really fucking beautiful. It's definitely dragged on. The first half definitely dragged on a bit too much. The Doyle thing was kind of corny, but it was funny. I mean, I'm just lost for words. I mean, that was just a really fucking good film. A really good film. Very emotional. Definitely worth a watch. It's not like a stupid Adam Sandler comedy moment. I mean, it has one or two of those things, but honestly, it's really fucking beautiful. It's really good. The first 10 minutes are a bit... I mean, the first 20 minutes, but once it gets going, I mean, it really fucking gets going. And yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It takes you on a real roller coaster in that final act. I mean, yeah, wow, incredible. Funny. Sandy Wexler is a very, very surprisingly good film. I was going into it and I read the synopsis, and it seemed like it was based mainly on just one inside joke, and they made an entire film about it, but it was actually really, really good. Sandy Wexler is a very interesting, complicated character. The only thing that annoys me about him slightly is the fact when Adam Sandler plays some of these slightly more, less Adam Sandler-y roles, his decision is just to be an idiot with a weird voice. But Sandy Wexler is a very admirable character. I think he's one of the most likable characters I've watched in any of these films. In just any film I've watched recently, to be fair. You always root for him. You always want him to do the right thing. My guy has a heart attack and still seals the deal with it for his client. And I think it was really surprising. The joke's very tongue-in-cheek and very good. The running gag of Sandy just giving consistently terrible advice is very funny. There are some really actually very funny bits in there. Of course, there are some downsides, like the very questionable bit where Rob Schneider's the Iranian billionaire, which seems a bit racy, but okay. I really like the twist at the end where they're all at the wedding. That was really good, and I like the way they interspliced with all these celebrities into it as well. I think all around it was a very good movie. It's not got great reviews on any site, but it's Adam Sandler. Nothing really gets great reviews, but I really liked it, and I thought it was a really heartfelt, nice film to watch. Funny People is definitely Adam Sandler's funniest movie, or one of them. I think it's a very interesting film because it is very funny, but that's probably because it's written by Judd Apatow and has Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen in it. But I think this is actually a really good performance from Adam Sandler, and it does actually touch on a lot of subjects. I mean, it is essentially just Adam Sandler playing himself, just this talented comedian who's forced to play these stupid-ass roles all the time. I mean, he clearly enjoys it, but, that's not the point. It really tells you, like, a deeper side of, like, the comedic industry and how a lot of these comedians are quite depressed. Like, Adam's character George, and shows the struggles that these comedians go through, and it's funny. It's funny and it's heartfelt, and I think a lot of these Adam Sandler movies have like films like Click, when they have a nice sincere message, it really means more to the viewer, and I think this is definitely one of Sandler's better films. It's more heartwarming, it's more funny. I was laughing numerous times, and most importantly, I like the parody aspect of him, making fun of his own movie and saying, look how stupid the stuff I do is. And then goes on to make films like Jack and Jill and The Waterboy, but still good. A very good film, probably one of Adam Sandler's best comedy films. Funny. Hustle is a very unexpected sort of story that I didn't really think. When I just searched Adam Sandler on Netflix, I saw mostly the same thing, That's My Boy, Just Go With It, Grown Ups, and all of them films. And I thought Hustle was just going to be sort of like a one-off, sort of maybe like a more deep but sort of dark humour sports film, because Adam Sandler's weirdly into basketball. I mean, not weirdly, he's a quintessential American, but he's just not your physical. He's not what you look for. A lot of basketball fan looks like, I guess. Yeah, getting into it, I wasn't expecting it to be so heartfelt and so impactful. I think that the character of Bo is just so lovable. Maybe it's because he has an accent. But I think he's just such a great character, and him and Stan's relationship throughout the film is so heartwarming. It's one of my favourite relationships I've seen in not just any of these films, but the dichotomy between them is just so pure and honest, and I love that. And I think Kermit Wills is a great villain. I feel like the ending was a bit too convenient. Like, oh, all of a sudden Vin's just gone. He's just had... How's he made a mess? No one really explains how he's made a mess. Was that just behind closed doors we never got to see? I thought that was a bit convenient. But other than that, I thought it was a really well-made movie. Adam Sandler was amazing. Alejandro, I believe his name was, the guy who plays Bo, is incredible. All the other actors who were played by basketball players, they're all amazing. And yeah, I thought it was a really, really great film. Not something I'd really expected when I was going to be doing an Adam Sandler ranking, but it does show that despite common belief, he does actually have range. Funny. Okay, how the fuck do I even describe this movie? Punch Drunk Love is a fever dream with LSD and sex and weirdness. And Adam Sandler, of course. Adam Sandler's actually a really good actor, and this movie sort of proves that. He plays this role of this weird, awkward guy super well. And just in general, it's just a really good movie. The pacing's very, very, very good in this movie. The pacing's immaculate. It's sort of nonsensical, but that's sort of the point. It's sort of told from the perspective of this pretty all over the place guy. The story sort of reflects that. It's very, it's very quick to the point. No fluff. It's silly, but it's very good. It's actually a really surprisingly good movie. I thought when I saw Paul Thomas Anderson, it was going to be pretty obnoxious, but no, Paul Thomas Anderson does have a good track record. I just feel like sometimes he's a bit up his own arse, if that makes sense. His films try and be too artsy, but this film I think just worked really well. All in all, it was a very good performance. Philip Seymour Hoffman was great. Adam Sandler was amazing. Emily Watson, not Emma Watson, a different British woman with the last name Watson. She was also really good in this. Yeah, I think all in all it was a great film. Barry Egan's a very likable character, and yeah, I'd give this one a good rating. Funny. Here we are. Uncut Gems. Now this movie not only solidifies just that it's actually a good movie, but it also changes the perception of what we think Adam Sandler is. No more is he just this screaming comedian. He's now just a regular screaming actor. No, but all jokes aside, he's actually really, really good in this movie. I mean, this whole movie is just amazing. The way they build tension is constant. I mean, this movie doesn't give you a second to breathe. It's non-stop action the entire time. Julia Fox is leng as fuck. She's got a fat ass and a great set of tits on her. Her acting's okay, but I mean, when you just look at her, I mean, I think the only thing about this movie that really has some question marks around it is the fact that she chose Adam Sandler over the fucking Weeknd. Adam Sandler, who was playing some fucking jewelry store Jew who seems to hate everything and everyone and has nothing going on in his life, but apparently she chooses him over the Weeknd. I don't know, maybe he's just fucking packing. Shock horror, even Adam Sandler's ex-wife in this movie is fucking gorgeous, because it's still got to have that Adam Sandlerism in there. But yeah, he's amazing. This whole movie is fucking incredible, and yeah, I'd probably put this as the number one. So there you are, every Adam Sandler film ranked worst to best. This video took a long time to make, so please leave a like, because it would really help me out. Subscribe if you enjoyed and want to see more rankings. Comment down below if you want to see me rank anyone else. And yeah, thank you all for watching the video. I hope you really enjoyed it. As I said, please do make sure to drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.